What's going on, everybody? My name's Paul. Thank you for joining me here at All In today. So, we are on week 2 of our horror homework. Go ahead and pass week 1 up to the front of the class. I will be checking it at the end. Also, as always, I'm joined by Skeleton Dan, the Spooky Man, my co-host here. You can see that he's got a couple more things. He's reminded me, as always, be spooky. It's Halloween time. It's the time for it. So let's go ahead and start off week 2. Let's not waste any of your time. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to start off again with a movie this week. The movie for this week is going to be Beyond the Gates. I actually went ahead. This is something that I found out. I think I watched it for the first time maybe a year ago or something like that. I instantly fell in love with it. So I went back and rewatched it with my man Skeleton Dan, and he enjoyed it a lot too. Really shook his bones up. This movie actually, so the thing about Halloween is it's supposed to be fun and spooky. It doesn't always have to be terrifying. Not in my opinion anyways. You can have fun, you can have laughs, as long as it's in the horror spirit. You know what I mean? And that's what this movie definitely is. This movie is fun, it's kind of goofy, but yeah, it's also kind of messed up at some points too. And that's everything that I need from a Halloween horror movie. It's kind of, this movie is about two brothers who haven't seen each other in forever. One of them is a real mess up. He's just like, you got the good brother and the prodigal son. Classic tale, you know how it always goes. But it's the story is pretty much the prodigal son comes home because the father has gone missing and is pretty much presumed dead. Like, they don't know where he is. He's there. He's gone. He's out of the picture. Nobody really knows what happened to him. The father ran a VHS rental store. A lot of you might be too young to remember what these are, but these are like, back in the day, we had something called Movie Gallery, Blockbuster, things like that. We had mom and pop shops that you could actually go and rent movies from. Not a Redbox, it was an actual big store. You could rent games, movies, all kinds of stuff. They were awesome. They had snacks. They were my childhood. In fact, it was a big part of my childhood. Even when I was young, I didn't really grow up with VHSs. When I was very young, I remember renting VHSs. We like rented the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies and stuff like that. But by the time I kind of, middle school, high school, stuff like that, it was more the DVD phase. But we still had Movie Gallery and all that. And me and my buddies always spent a lot of time at these types of places. It was some of my favorite places to go. You could rent games, like I said before, you rent movies. And it was just like, it was a lot of fun exploring these spaces. And so this movie really brings back a lot of nostalgia for me, checking out this, this movie rental store. Also, like, because we rented horror movies there all the time. But there used to be these things where you would pop a VHS in, and it's also a board game. There's like Seen It and stuff like that. Of course, they later brought it to DVD. They might still do stuff like that. Like, I know they have Disney Seen It and all that. But that's what this is. This is a board game that you pop a VHS in and you play along. So it's pretty cool. I've actually never played a horror board game like that, but this would be very interesting to me. If I could get my hands on a copy of this, that'd be great. If anybody, wants to hook your boy up, give me a shout out, throw me a link down in Discord, or like, I'll send you my home address, If you can get me this, I'll send you my home address. No, not really. I won't do that. Just a heads up. I'm not actually going to do that because I'm not a madman. Or maybe I will. I don't know. How bad of an idea would it be to give a random stranger my home address? Can't be that bad. It is Halloween time. So maybe doing something spooky like that. It's in the spirit of it. I'll think about it. Anyways, let's get back to the movie. So the dad owned a VHS rental store, and so at the store, you find out that the last thing he did was played a game called Beyond the Gates. As I said before, it's a VHS board game. It's a lot like Spooky Jumanji, and so these two brothers pretty much have to start playing the game in order to get their dad back. And it's just, I don't want to go too much more in depth with it than that. It is because it's it's just a really fun ride. Even if you're not really into horror movies, it's still, I think it's fun enough that even if you are kind of wary of stuff that's too scary, I don't think it's too spooky that it'll like scary anyone away. But for horror buffs like me, I appreciate everything about it, and there are enough cool horror aspects to the movie to keep me entertained. I mean, I love the movie. Ever since the first time I saw it, this is one of the top Halloween movies for me because it is so much fun. And it really says a lot to the movie because this is I actually have the budget right here. It's a $200,000 budget, which is very, very small for movies nowadays. So you don't expect anything, Michael Bay level. It's not this big bombastic movie. It is very subtle, but movies like that are very good about building up the universe that it's in. Because to overcome the budgetary constraints, they have to overcome that with the writing in order for the movie to be good, and I think it is. This movie I'd give like a solid 8.52. I really enjoy this movie, and I think they spent their money in the correct places with this movie. It's so much fun. It's such an entertaining ride. I think this is something you can bring your friends together, watch this movie, get your popcorn and shit ready, and it really just brings me back to a time where I was hanging out with friends watching movies like this. And so I really enjoy it. And I think it's because we're just now really rocketing towards the Halloween season. I think this is a good movie to really get you in that Halloween mood. So like I said, I really recommend Beyond the Gates. I think it's on Netflix. Yeah, I'm almost positive it's on Netflix. That's where I watched it. I have so many streaming services. It might have been on Amazon Prime or Shudder or Hulu, but I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Everybody has it, so this is going to be something that's easy for you to watch. So moving on to the next thing, we're going to go with a show. And for me, a lot of times shows aren't very good at horror. Last week I brought God, I've already forgot what it was, but Candle Cove, Channel Zero. And that was actually surprising because that was from Sci-Fi, and most stuff from Sci-Fi is cheesy. Hopefully you checked that out and you enjoyed it, and you kept going on with that. I know I just finished the second season, and that was really good too, but continuing that vein, this is another show that actually does horror very, very well, and I think this one is actually a lot scarier than Candle Cove was. This show actually freaked me out quite a bit at some parts. Like some parts really got me. And it's called Marianne. It came out this year. It's very recent, 2019. It is a French show. And since it's French, they have dub or they have sub. Like, they dub is, where they put English voices over the actual actors and actresses' voices. I don't recommend that. We started with dub. It really takes away from the show. I think it does not hold up. It makes the show kind of cheesy, kind of funny, but if you listen to it with the original voice cast and their emotions that they're portraying, the subtitles is honestly the way to go. If you watch it with dub, it's not the same to me, honestly. It's not nearly as scary, and I think it kind of ruins the show a little bit. So I know subtitles, some people don't like dealing with them, but I think this show is absolutely worth it because it is one of the best, if not the best horror show I've ever seen because it really works. Again, this is a show that's on Netflix. It's about a famous horror writer. She's been writing since she was very young, like pretty much fresh out of high school, and she's been writing her whole life about this witch named Marianne. And you find out that this witch named Marianne has been haunting her dreams since she was young, but since she started writing these books, the dreams have gone away. So that's a way for her to stop these nightmares from happening, is for her to is for her writing, kind of like an outlet for her. But it ends up that the writings that she's doing and the witch is real. So it's kind of a catch-22. It helps her by writing, but the stuff that she's writing you'll find out. This isn't too much of a spoiler. I won't go too deep with the show because there's another thing that I really don't want to spoil. But I'll just say that it's not all in her head. Like, this isn't something that, she's just writing this book. It's more real than what she originally thought that it would be. Again, I don't want to go too deep because this is a show that has a lot of twists and turns, and I really don't want to spoil anything just because of how well it's done. I ate through this show. This is something you can easily binge watch. I think it's only got like 8 to 10 episodes. There's only one season of it. And it is very much a open and closed season. They kind of left it at the end where there could be a second season, and I hope there is. But this ends, to me. Like, if they never make another season, it'll be okay. But like I said, I liked it so much that I hope they did. They do, because it's so well acted. And as I said before, for a show, this is very scary. Like, it's a show, so not every episode is going to be like very tense, but I mean, it starts with a bang, and it goes from there. And the story is so good, the characters are very likable, and it really just, it rides the whole way. There's going to be some times where some of the characters, even the main character, you're like, you're just dumb, or I hate you, you're making bad decisions, but I think they earn it. Like, even at the very end, there's a twist that I was like, okay, whatever. Like, why would you do this thing? And then the character actually has a reason, and it shows it. And I was like, oh, I was wrong in this. Like, I was judging you too harshly. That was very smart for the character to do. And that's good writing. So yeah, I think it's a very well done. If you're looking for a good horror show, you just finished up Candle Cove, you're on to the next thing. Marianne, you can have it knocked out in a week, no problem. Again, you'll find it on Netflix, highly recommended. That one I'd probably give a solid 9 to. I was actually thinking of doing a separate review for it, but I knew I was going to be doing this, so I just figured I'd put it in here. I really, really, really liked Marianne. I can't wait for the second season. So after Marianne, let's go ahead and move on. I got another book for this week, and I think it's an important book for people who love horror. Reading reviews for it, it's not his top-rated book. This is a book by Chuck Palahniuk, I think his name, Chuck Palahniuk. I'm not actually sure how to say his name, but I'm just gonna call him Chuck Palahniuk. He's the guy who wrote Fight Club. Everybody knows that. He wrote Choke. He's done quite a few things. This book is called Haunted. It came out in 2005, so quite a bit ago. But as I was mentioned before, the reviews for it are so hit and miss. Either people love it or they hate it. The people that hate it kind of hated it because it is too much. Like, this book will turn your stomach. Like, it is rough. It is rough in a way that Saw is rough. It's not like Saw. I'm not comparing it to Saw. I'm just saying it's rough, like how Saw or Hostel or things like that is. Though there's not really any torture in it. Man, it's so hard to talk about these things and not spoil anything. There's not somebody who's torturing anybody. It's 23 short stories all wrapped in one bigger story, right? So it's an anthology book that's wrapped around a bigger story. It's about 17 different writers who win a retreat, and whoever writes the best story wins. Like, it's a publishing deal or it's like money, I actually can't remember. But they win something. So you have 17 different writers who are trying to write the best stories. And so each one of them has true stories about themselves, and that's the horror stories. That's the 23 short stories that you're reading. You find out that all these writers have something in common. They all have messed up backstories, really rough backstories, honestly. Like, rough backstories. And so all these writers that are now living together are messed up. These people are messed up in the head. And it's like, imagine if the real world was a book with a bunch of people who were trying to out fuck up the others, pretty much. And it's it's not horror in the way that there's something stalking them, there's something, there's some scary entity that's after them. There's no zombies, there's no ghosts. It's more realistic horror because people are fucked up. And so that is the thing about this. It is the horror of people who want to be famous, will do anything that it takes to be famous. And that is the horror of this book. And it is really dark and it's really messed up. It's, I mean, I just have to warn you. I have to warn you. This has a lot of gross out situations and like the suffering of these people that is self-brought, and it's really not for the faint of heart. Honestly, there was some parts of this book that was hard for me to get through, but I think it was totally worth it because some of these people you kind of feel for, but some of them you're kind of like, hey, they kind of deserve it, and that's a messed up thing to say. Nobody deserves any type of bad situation that they're put in for the most part, but I don't know. These guys are messed up. They kind of deserved it. Like, some of them, you enjoy reading about the stuff that happens to them. That's all I'll say. But yeah. So Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk. Again, it came out in 2005. There you can get it in book form, or I actually did the Audible version. The Audible version was very well done. I can't recommend it high enough. I subscribe to Audible, so if you subscribe and you got some free credits lying around like I do, and you don't know what to read or listen to next, I highly recommend Haunted for this Halloween season. And just get ready, just be sure you're not eating before you read or listen to this book. It's that messed up. That's an all-in guarantee. I would probably give this book, if I'm gonna have to review it, if I'm being honest, I want to give it higher, but I think I'd give it a 7.5 just because I've read better books and it was so rough for me to get through. And I'm not squeamish, but I don't love stuff like that. But it is so well done that I give it a 7.5, and I recommend it enough for, like, this is something you kind of have to check out if you love horror and you love messed up situations. I think Haunted is a book that you have to check out. So to wrap this up, let's end this with a game. This game I actually had a lot of fun with. It came out this year, and man, I expected a lot from it, but then there were some reviews that was kind of middle of the road, but it ended up getting like pretty good reviews. But a lot of people were saying it was a little too short or whatever. But this game is called Man of Medan. This game is everything that I want in like a fun horror game that is best enjoyed with other people. They even have a mode on there where like 5 friends can watch it on the couch and you each control a person. That's genius. I haven't played that mode yet, but I have looked into it, and you're passing the controller to, around to the next character, letting them make the decisions. Every one of you are playing, as one of these characters. It's made by the Until Dawn people. If you never checked that game out, I highly recommend that. I think Until Dawn is a better game, but that's also a more expensive game. It was a bigger budget game. This one is meant to be smaller, bite-sized. This is also a part of an anthology, but the other ones aren't out yet. This is the first part of this anthology series of games that'll be coming out. And so I played this game. I haven't played it single player yet. It's got single player, it's got the couch co-op, but it's also got 2-player online co-op. So you and a friend anywhere else in the world can play it together. And that's what my buddy Kyle and I did, all in one sitting. We played through the whole thing in one go. It's not that long. It's like, I think it ended up being 3, almost 4 hours in one sitting. But the thing about the game is it's very much about replayability. There was so much that we either messed up or like we did things and I was like, oh, I want to do that different. Pretty much as soon as I finished the game, I wanted to go back through it. I did this I think I played it back in September. We're definitely going to be replaying this on stream again, because now I know, hey, there's a whole character that I didn't get to see his arc for a reason. I'm not going to spoil it, but there was a whole character that I did not get to see his stuff. Like, so I do want to go back through and look at what happens with him. This game it's like I said, it's a lot of fun. It's short, spooky. The replay value's high. It's, like I said before, it has co-op. It's again, it's just so short that I really don't want to talk about it too much. It's about you, your brother, your girlfriend, her brother, all go on this trip. You know, they're sea diving or whatever, and the boat captain's with them, and it starts with a dive, but you end up on this haunted ship. If you ever saw Ghost Ship, you know exactly how it goes. It's pretty much like Ghost Ship, the game. Um, where you know you get onto aboard this haunted ship and like there's this crazy stuff happening and you pretty much have to figure out a way to get off this boat. Like you have to figure out a way to fix your boat and to escape this boat and kind of figuring out the mystery of what is causing this crazy stuff to happen with this boat. A lot, you know, with ghosts and all kinds of stuff, but I really don't want to spoil it any more than that. If you don't have, if you know, if you're not somebody who can play scary games, this one I think is easy to play. I don't think that it's going to be something that is too scary to get through, but just in case you can't, you know, I have a full Let's Play up on my channel. You know, you can just look it up, the Man of Medan on my channel, all in. But also we are going to be playing back through it again, so you know, if you know, follow me over on Twitch, you'll see when I go live playing back through Man of Medan. Though at that point we will kind of know we beat the game, so we know some of the steps of the game, but we will be playing it completely different than we did the first time, that's for sure. But yeah, it's cheap if you are wanting to check it out. I think I saw it as low as $20. Normally it's like $30, but I think I saw it as low as $20, and it's very, very much worth that. Like I said, it's only like 3 to 4 hours experience the first time through, but it has very high replay value. There's collectibles that you can get, all kinds of stuff, and I think the horror aspect in it is very good, and it also has some funny parts in it too. If I was to review that, I would give just the first playthrough of Man of Medan a 7.5. It's hard for me to review it before I check it out again. It might go up to an 8. It might go down, but I kind of doubt it. But anywhere between a 7.5 to an 8. I highly recommend it. If you have friends that are going to come over for a party at some point, buy the game, do the, you know, pass the controller around, play the game. You're going to have a good time with it. That's an all-in guarantee right there that you are going to have a good time with Man of Medan. And you're not losing, you know, you're not losing anything. It's a good time. But yeah, so that is the end of this week for the the horror homework, week 2. So we went over Beyond the Gates. Movie came out in 2016. We went over Marianne. It's a new show that just came out this year. Again, it's in French. I really recommend the subtitles. If you can, don't do the dub. I can't guarantee how good the show is going to be with the dub. We didn't like it. We disliked the dub so much we turned it off and went to subtitles. You know, that's just us. Maybe it won't bother you, but I really think you will be losing out if you don't go with the original voice cast. For your book this week, I recommended Haunted. It's not super long. I know it's 23 short stories, but they are very short stories. You can probably get this done. I think the Audible was no longer than 10-15 hours. That's pretty short for a book, but it's really good. You kind of get in, get out, and it's gonna stick with you. I mean, I read this book probably I'd say about 2 years ago, and I reread it before, you know, this, just to get because I couldn't remember a bunch of stuff with it, but it messed me up just as much the second time reading it as it did the first time, and it's something that really stuck with me, and I've actually recommended it quite a few times to other people who like horror stuff. And as far as the game goes, we talked about Man of Medan. Again, it's like $20-$30 somewhere around there. It's on Steam, PS4, Xbox One. Unfortunately, it's not on Switch, but other than that, you can get it pretty much anywhere. It's a great. I didn't play a single player, but it definitely seems like a good single player game. Like it would pretty much just be like how Until Dawn was, but it's really fun in co-op. And I'm actually excited to check out the same room 5-player co-op mode. I think that's just a really fun way to spend your, you know, Halloween season. That's a really good game to pick up. But yeah, so that's everything that we went over, guys. Of course, leave me a comment down below. Please give me suggestions. I'd love to know what your Halloween favorites are. It could be games, books, shows, movies, anything that you can suggest for me. I'd love to, I'd love to check out, and maybe we'll talk about it in the next week. Of course, anything that we talked about here, I'm going to be playing some horror games within the next week. I'm going to be streaming it. over on my Twitch. I'll link the Twitch down below. Of course, join the Discord. You can get in there and talk about all this stuff, kind of see what's coming up within the next coming weeks in the Discord. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate you for stopping by. I really hope you enjoy everything that I recommended. Also, of course, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about last week, and once you get done with this one, let me know what you think of this. You know, by the end of the week, I think all of this is short enough that you should be able to get it done, you know, from Monday to Saturday. It's just, it's really gonna put you in the mood for the Halloween season. And again, nothing this week is too scary. Marianne's kind of spooky, but nothing is too rough. I think we're gonna get into some rougher stuff within the coming weeks, but for this one, I'm still just kind of, you know, gliding you in. Like it's a steady slope going down to the more messed up areas. But yeah, guys, like I said before, I appreciate it. Have a lot of fun this week. I hope you guys have a great one, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.